We are here at Red Butte Garden and Arboretum, just inside of Salt Lake City. And joining me today is Guy Banner, who is a horticulturist here. Guy, thank you so much for giving us a little bit of your time.
My pleasure.
It is a beautiful garden right on the hillside here. Tell us a little bit about how this garden got started.
It began as a state arboretum where people could come to experience local native plants and trees. In 1985, the garden opened and started small, and it's grown since then. It's now 29 acres of manicured landscape and managed landscape, and then we have about the rest of 100 up in the natural area, which is a forest. Used to be forest land, but it's managed as a natural area up above us. So we're nestled right up against the foothills into the mountains here, and live in this urban wildland interface.
You're really bridging the gap here, and you
Yeah.
get to experience both of them while you visit here. Let's talk a little bit, because you kind of have the visitor center down low at base camp, and then you got to hike up. But let's talk about some of the different gardens that you have overall here.
All right, yeah. Some of our earliest gardens are the entrance gardens, the Four Seasons garden. We have an orangery, which is an event center for weddings and things like that. Then we have our terrace gardens, which we call the heart of the garden these days. But that includes an herb garden, a medicinal garden, and a fragrance garden. And we do weddings and things like that in the fragrance garden. Down lower, we have a rose garden. We have a water pavilion because we have Red Butte Creek running through the garden, and we have multiple ponds where we have the native Bonneville cutthroat trout stocked. But we see lots of birds and have some beautiful calm spaces with lots of water for people to hang out by. We've got the Wasatch Range behind us here, the Ochres across the valley, and you can see the Great Salt Lake and Antelope Island over there. It's one of the best places to view the valley and to see sunsets in the valley.
It's absolutely breathtaking. And we're here at the top of your area, the Water Conservation Garden.
That's right.
Can we work our way down and take a look at it more?
Absolutely, love to.
Right.
This larger sense of garden space, and it's something inspiring for people that maybe they can't do at home, but here it's something that they can experience on a bigger scale.
All of this that we're seeing right now is the Water Conservation Garden?
Yep, that's right. So we're in the center of the Water Conservation Garden. This area is called the Water Saver Terrace, and we have it broken up into hydro zones. So each of these plantings, all the plants are rated for a similar use of water, which is a really important concept in water conservation gardening.
Absolutely.
So hydrozoning, you match your plants by what water they need. That way you're not overwatering something or underwatering something. And
so the vegetation sort of changes then, right?
Absolutely. So we have this is one of our once a month areas.
Okay.
And then we have a zero water, nothing after establishment.
Okay.
Then we have once every other week, once a week, and then twice a week.
Okay.
At the lushest and greenest. And we try to work hard to make sure that this area looks as good as those areas later in the season when it gets really hot and things are dried out a lot.
I think that's a critical point always in botanical education, right?
Yeah.
Is that drought tolerant doesn't mean cactus and rocks.
That's right. Yeah, we try to show a lot of lushness, capture a lot of our native vegetation, but we borrow from all around the world, the Mediterranean, some of our sister climates, like our sister city, I believe, is in Turkey. Okay. Just climatically, we're a zone. Six is our safe number, but 7 is what we're now rated as. So depending on where you go in the valley, 7 or a 6.
Which is so funny because Oklahoma is in that 6-7 range also, but drastically different because of just temperatures. And you guys get a lot more colder and consistently colder in the wintertime with snowfall.
Right. Yeah, we do tend to have consistent snowpack for chunks of time during the winter. It's not always throughout the entire winter, but yeah. So we probably share quite a few different plants. Our annual rainfall is about 17 inches. And I think you guys get quite a bit more than that.
A little more than that.
Yeah. But, you still have very hot shortgrass prairies there.
Right.
Understand. Your humidity is a lot higher than us.
Yeah.
But
it's a dry heat today.
Yeah, it's a dry heat.
But I will say I do recognize some of the plants, obviously the yarrow and the yuccas, and I've seen buffalo grass here,
Mm-hmm.
but some unique plants that I'm not familiar with.
Right.
Like this, what is this plume?
Apache plume or canyon plume, Fallujah paradoxa. This is a super drought hardy plant that stays evergreen on its leaves, and it gets these beautiful little white rose family flowers, kind of like a little simple apple blossom, followed by these are the seed heads that are fruiting. Okay. So it's just these plumes. So it's a great plant for just a continued season of interest. You get those blooms early on, and it sets these beautiful plumes up, and then they just stay.
And we got a nice mass of yellow behind that.
Right. This is a sulfur buckwheat, or Eriogonum. So there's a lot of the wild buckwheats in the United States, and the Western United States has a huge number of species. So this is a cultivar of one of our native species, but they're a great low water plant that has big blooms, and it's a great pollinator plant.
Okay.
That's something we try to do with this garden a lot as well, creating habitat for pollinators and various other beneficial creatures.
Absolutely. Well, I have to ask a little bit about the soil too. We're here on the rock, the mountainside,
yes.
And I know you have Salt Lake down below.
Right.
What is your soil like here?
It's quite variable. So we have a pretty variable geology here, and so the parent material of these different rock formations breaks down and creates different types of soils. On average, our soil tends to be neutral to alkaline pH. Okay. As you get closer to the lake and down in the basin, it gets saltier, and so the pH goes up and the salt goes up.
Right.
Here on the foothills, where it used to be, it's been grassland and oak scrub for a long time, we have a little bit better soil, but there is a lot of clay, there's a lot of rock. This garden, we utilized the soil that was on site during construction and mixed in organic material and some drainage, and then we brought in a little extra soil as well. It's more of a silty texture, but it tends to be, there's a lot of clay in our soil.
Well, it's
red clay.
We know that, red clay. Yeah. It's definitely coming into its own, and it's a beautiful garden. Thank you so much for sharing it with us.
My absolute pleasure.
We hope you enjoyed this video as part of our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. You can also find even more videos on the OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel. And join us on social